Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for Riddick. Because I guess the Chronicles of Riddick wasn't popular enough to have more chronicles, so they just called it Riddick. Anyhow, it's a movie starring Vin Diesel, Katie Sackhoff, Bokeem Woodbine, and Dave Bautista, and some dude I don't know the name of because I haven't seen him anything else, and if you remember the drug lord guy from Bad Boys, I believe it was 2. He's in here. Love his accent. Love how he does things. He's fantastic. But as always, I'm going to give the good, the bad, and the furry. To start with furry, do you like Circles? Did you like the enemies from Pitch Black? Well, I think you will like this movie because they have they call them dingo dongos, but they're dogs, very large, Doberman-ish, Doberman-esque dogs, and then some scorpion things that are pretty badass. So, yeah, those are fun. Moving on to the good and the bad. So, I think that this one is the best of the Riddick trilogy, live action trilogy, that's out, and part of the reason is because it essentially feels like Pitch Black, but with modern filmmaking techniques and CGI. And, more actors that I recognize and care about and like. So, yeah, if you really liked Pitch Black, I think you will really like this movie. And as I said in my review of the Chronicles of Riddick, I think that if you really don't like the either reviews that you've heard or trailers that you've seen or just you don't want to rewatch it or whatever, I don't think you need to watch the Chronicles of Riddick in order to appreciate Riddick. That being said, I do think it would be better, but it's not like you're going to miss any story cues. It's just the intro piece of it to show how he ended up where he ended up on this planet. Is based off of the end of Chronicles of Riddick and has a little bit better for that. But 5 minutes after that, that whole 5 minute thing, and then you're done. You're like, get it, cool. This is how he ended up here. Great, moving on. So none of that is necessary. I think you should watch Pitch Black because A, it's a good movie. B, it's in the same type of genre, and C, it's fun to see him back in his element of being the super scary guy with super scary things around. And yeah, so definitely a fun time. Dave Bautista kills it. This is, I think, one of the first movies that I remember seeing him in, and it was awesome. Katie Sackhoff is always a win. I loved her as Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica. I liked her show, I think it was called Life, and her in this one was awesome. So definitely great to see her in this one. Also, you get to see her titties in this one, so, that's never a bad thing. And like I said, I already talked about the guy from Bad Boys 2. And then the guy who plays Johns is also really good. I liked him. Haven't seen him in anything else, but I thought he did a really good job. Everyone is in this is fantastic. Even the people who just had very short parts, because much like Pitch Black, there is a bit of people getting picked off one by one in this, and they do it effectively to, again, show Riddick's power as well as what kind of guy he really is or isn't. And I really enjoyed that. I thought that the setting was great. I thought that the CGI amount was just right. Any of the creatures that you see, based on how fast they move, I don't feel like it could have been animatronics, but the CGI just is so good that it works. The only thing that I thought was kind of weird was one of the times when they were on the motorcycles, which were better motorcycles than the ones from the Book of Boba Fett. But there was a weird, I'm going to just do this cool trick and then land back on it for almost no reason. It was kind of I don't get it. But I loved seeing Riddick get back to basics, especially the first 20 minutes or so of this film where he is down and out and he is having to, he is barely surviving and he's having to, it shows why he's been able to survive as long as he has, why he's been able to escape other prisons, and just his willingness to do whatever is necessary to survive, as well as his thinking. You can always see him looking for the next angle. He is a predator in a world full of predators, and it's great to see him triumph, because of course he does, getting around that to the greener pastures area. It was great to see that. And once again, much like how in Pitch Black, and spoilers for a bit of midway through Pitch Black, so in Pitch Black, when it gets all dark, then the little creatures come out, and you see it through his purple vision. And it took me, I would say a couple times watching it to really understand that, okay, he is seeing the little creatures come out, and they are little creatures. And then the next time he sees, after they have their little like running from the little creatures thing, then the next ones that come out are super huge. And I just don't think it was effectively portrayed. And it was difficult to distinguish the size of these things. I paid attention more and was like, okay, so there's a sound difference in the flapping of the wings. Like the big guys are whoosh, whoosh. Like I get that, but it wasn't a good depiction there. And then just they did a much better job in this one of showing the detail of his purple vision, whereas in the first one it was quite a bit more washed out, sort of like the gray vision that the aliens had. But in this one it was much better. And even with that, so he gets to this greener pastures area. It's clear he's been there for a long ass time. And then he sees a storm, and he looks over, and he's like, "Oh, we don't want to be on this planet anymore." And they show it, but it's so even on a big screen, it's so tiny that it's only from rewatching the movie that I'm like, "Oh, that's what those things are supposed to be." What it is that the scorpion things are released by the rain coming down, much like how the darkness released those things. So it's a big ass storm, and he's able to actually see that where the rain is falling, there's just thrashings of a whole bunch of these scorpion things. And it wasn't made clear enough. So I'm explaining to you so that when you're watching it for the first time, you don't get all confused like I did as to like, what is he seeing? Is it just because it's a big storm? Like, who cares? Like, he'll survive, it's fine. But the technology that they used and how they explained like the Merc trading post and whatnot, that was good. The thing that I don't think really made a whole lot of sense, the one glaring flaw was why would they put their only way off the ship, like their power banks, in a thing that's like, those things are the shell thing that they put it in seemed to just be made of like one little thin metal cage thing that he could have just like slammed a knife into and carved out the back and gotten around the explosive. And B, what if he had tried it, or somebody else had tried it, and detonated? Then they are both stuck on the planet because you have detonated their power supply. So that's dumb. And then when Katie Sackhoff is first taking theirs out to, for whatever fucking reason, add it to that guy's pile, she's very gentle with it. But then later on, they are like kicking these things around and like shoving them and railing them. Like, it's just, think about how they treated them in Pitch Black, those power cells. That's how they were treating these. And I'm like, so then why was she all gentle with it? And then also, they had this big thing of like, oh, did he tamper with it? So they have to like open it and they check. Oh, didn't tamper with it. And then they leave it unattended instead of relocking it or putting it back in the ships and relocking the ships. So you'll never guess what happens to the power cells that they have now unlocked and left unattended. So that, I think, was kind of the main issue that I had with it. But everything else, the pacing-wise, the characters, like the like comedy bits, and like how they made Riddick super scary again, all of that, and Katie Sackhoff just like kicking people's ass and whatnot, that was just fantastic. And I even liked the Johns character and how his motivation and what came through throughout the story. I think that the Riddick revealed the right amount at the right time. I think some people may disagree with me, but I think he made the right choices. So, thoroughly enjoyed this film. Again, I think it's the best of the Riddick bunch, and I love rewatching this film a lot. So, that's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye.